Hey jump creators, how's it going? My name is Darren Anderson. I'm married, I have 2 children, 2 dogs, a bird. I've been married for 23 years. I'm 46 years old and I love working with my hands. This shed that you see in the background here, it was built from salvage material. We had torn apart a shed at our church and this is what I got from it. The only thing I had to buy were the shingles. Everything else was salvage. The little deck in the front, salvaged from a project we were working on. I had built the deck probably 5 times the size of what you see here, and instead of throwing it out, we brought it here so that I had a platform and not have to work on it in the dirt. Over here is our deck. This whole deck was built with salvage materials. As you can see, it's the top is a little bit better. I had to redo it this year and use new material, unfortunately. You can see the curve and the detail curve underneath. Just something that I like to do is these little fancy things, something that's a little bit more difficult. To show my diversity, as you can see, this backyard, I did all the landscaping here. It was just one big dirty mess when we moved in. It was mainly garden. But as you can see, I really enjoy working with my hands. Come on in the house and I'll show you some other stuff. Hey junk creators, welcome to my home. This desk that you can see here is another one of my salvage material projects that I have done over the years. I made this approximately 10 years ago for my son Tyler, and it's made strictly from salvage materials. The top is made from ash and white oak. The gables are melamine. All the drawer fronts are solid oak, and I used maple plywood for the drawer boxes. I had to purchase the drawer slides. They're pretty tough to salvage, that sort of thing. And when I do need that, I'll check with Habitat for Humanity because they have a lot of that sort of thing, and the money that's used goes to great causes. Now, over to the storage room here. Unfortunately, this wall, Edmonton Oilers, my son doesn't have very good taste. I'm a Calgary Flames fan, but please don't hold that against me. This storage room was also made with salvaged materials. The only thing that I had to purchase was the drywall, and I did have some paint that was left over from a previous job. The door, the moldings, everything was all salvaged material, including the hardware on the handle. Down the hallway here, on the left-hand side, is my furnace room. A little messy, so I won't show it to you. But the door here, it's a solid core, fire-rated door. I didn't want to throw it away. We put a steel door on the family's home. As you can see, it was in perfect shape. I still have the original doorknob from the home. For a furnace room, that's perfect. The bathroom on this side was made with salvaged materials. The T-bar ceiling I bought from Canadian Tire when they were redoing their building. They didn't want to throw it away. I got a great deal on it. The countertops, again, they were the wrong color, so I modified them to fit this particular application. The wood trim, it was some old countertops that I had trimmed down, and I used that for the trim. The cabinet, I also made that. The melamine, I had to buy the melamine, but the handles I already had. The flooring, countertop on the other side, everything in here was all salvage materials and saved. The last thing I want to show you is the bedroom that's down at the end of the hall. It's my son's. It was made with salvage material also. This bedroom, I built this about 7 years ago. It was all salvage material. The T-bar ceiling is from Canadian Tire, like I mentioned in the bathroom. The door on the panel box is MDF that was used on some countertops quite a few years ago. Even the nightstand. This is actually a project that my oldest boy made, but it was made from salvage materials from around the house. The carpeting came out of a house that we put hardwood in there, and I just couldn't justify throwing it in the garbage, so I kept it. The small table that you see here, it's all oak with inlaid walnut. The wood is the same as what I did with the desk. It was all strapping that was in between lifts of hardwood, and each one of those pieces is 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch oak, all glued together to form that top. So it was an awful lot of oak pieces. I had to buy the hardware, but everything else was strictly salvage material. Upstairs here, the laminate flooring I did approximately 5 years ago. It was another one of my favorite projects. I did all the painting in here with the help of my wife. The crown mold that you see around is another project that I put on. Did all the lights in here. All the plug-ins and the light switches were all changed. The small cabinet on the wall, I made that for my wife. I believe it was for Christmas, probably 15 or 20 years ago. I made everything on there. I made the doors. Everything was all made from salvage materials, and I'm actually quite proud of that. That's one of the first things that I ever made. The small table that you've seen downstairs is a match to the table this in our living room. This table is 3 feet by 3 feet. It's 3/4 inch solid oak with walnut skirting, and the legs are 4 inches by 4 inches with walnut inlaid into the corners. Well, junk raiders, I've showed you most of everything that I have around here that I have done with salvage materials. There's a lot more out and about in this city that I have done. I'm very proud of my accomplishments. I love working with my hands. I would be incredibly honored to be able to be part of your program in any capacity, whether it would be just standing around and hauling stuff around. I have to mention this torch here on my right. My son was an Olympic torchbearer this year, and we're all very, very proud of him. I hope to hear from you soon, and thank you very much for your consideration.